You're listening to Two Deaths Down, a business podcast that lets you get to know my guest for a whole season, not just one episode. I'm your host, Erin Taylor, the owner of Luname Strategy and Systems Design, an operations expert helping brand and web designers grow their studios the sustainable way. Now let's dive in. All right, are you a TV watcher?
I am. We always have to flip our TV episodes into with husband and without husband because that's just like a thing. So we just finished White Lotus last night, season 2, not season 3. I'm really excited for season 3. I know. Appropriate facial expressions. And then on my own, I'm watching, summer is like such binge bad TV for me. And so I've been watching like Summer House and Love Island. I really was like, I'm not going to watch that. That's too many episodes. And then here I am.
I am not a big reality TV person in that side of things. But funny enough, the show that I've currently been watching is Homestead Rescue. It's a Discovery Channel show, and it's on HBO. And right now, that's the only streaming platform we have. And it is this father and his son and daughter who are homesteaders up in Alaska, and they get sent to failing homesteads around the U.S., and they have, somewhere between 5 and 10 days to help them fix their homesteads. So you watch them build chicken coops and identify where the water spring is and set up solar panels and teach someone how to hunt.
It's amazing.
So weird that I love it. I'm not a camper. I'm not an outdoorsy person, but I will sit there and watch these homesteaders and be like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, why would you place your chicken coop there?
Right. Obviously, that's not a good spot.
No, not where the water spigot
I'm now
is.
an expert in homesteading.
Congratulations. I can't wait to hear when you get chickens.
No, absolutely not. Nope. We had some friends of ours in Charleston who did chickens for a little while, and we helped with the harvesting of the chickens at the end, and that was an experience I never need to have again.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yep, nope. I was like, I've only ever seen the chickens and the egg collecting. I was like, that side I can do. I was like, that feels like a nice little Easter egg I hunt every morning to go get your breakfast, but nope, not the end. I'm more of a farmer's market girly. I'll stick to that version of homesteading for now.
I will support those homesteaders if they want to sell their product.
Yes. Yeah. I will watch maybe I'll have to watch the show and then, buy the eggs.
All right. What are you listening to? What's your current podcast?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have not been on I was with the exception of Two Desks Down, I feel like I had taken a little podcast hiatus recently just because I feel like as a business owner, you get so much business in your brain at all times. And I naturally will lean towards a business podcast. So I put a pause on that, and I have switched to audiobooks as much as possible. And so my closest version right now is I'm listening to Amy Poehler's her memoir, her book, which is really fun. Her Yes Please.
Oh, nice. That's funny because I have been listening to her Good Hang podcast anytime I want a podcast that's not business related, which is lovely to just be able to pop in and listen to somebody and have her lead the conversation, which she's delightful.
She is delightful. She's so good at what she does. And I always see the clips of it, and I feel like I get the clips. I should actually listen to a full episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you? What are you listening to right now?
Well, I've got my weekly show, which is Wanting in Public.
Yes.
With Caitlin and Xanthi. And I did Caitlin just dropped her private podcast again. So I did just listen to her first 3 episodes this week. So they're really good.
I literally just bookmarked that to go back and listen to because I was like, oh my God, it's back. I was like, my favorite show is on. Caitlin is a gem.
She really is. What job do you wish you knew about in high school?
Okay. Did you follow? There was this hippo on TikTok for a while. Oh my God. It's the baby hippo that would not get out of the water. And he had little hippo wranglers who had to go get him out of the water. I was enamored. I was like, this is a job. I was like, it's a zookeeper. But you could just hang out with a baby hippo all day. And they're sassy. So I think that I was like, that would have been, I think we all knew Zookeeper was an option, but I think really seeing the reality of being friends with the baby hippo changed that for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I was trying to think of a different answer from what I did the first season.
Yes.
And the only thing I could come up with, which I feel like I might have mentioned this on season 1 too, was the unique jobs that you can have in TV. Like location scout, right? Or we just, speaking of reality TV show, we also randomly watch Naked and Afraid. And there's medics that are just like hanging out probably at a nice spa waiting around until they get called in. That's a fun job. That's an interesting way to be a doctor.
Or like Survivor cast member who gets out first, but then has to go hang. They have like a place called Ponderosa. I was like, that's not necessarily a job, but I would do that. I would try and make it further, I suppose. But if I didn't, count me in for Ponderosa.
We were just talking about that with, why am I blanking on the name of the show where the people travel the world?
Oh, Amazing Race.
Yes, thank you.
Nope, I do that all the time.
Yeah, when at the end, right, they can't talk about who won the show, and the top several people come back for the winner. So I was like, where did they go? If you like lose out in like, your 6th or 7th, do you just get to hang out in whatever country you're in till the end?
Right.
That sounds great.
No, if I must. No, we talk about that all the time. My sister-in-law is a huge Survivor fan, like now 50 seasons, but watched all of them during the pandemic and has moved on to like Australian Survivor. And so like, I didn't even know they went somewhere before they left until she was like, yeah, they go to this place called Ponderosa. She like knew everything. I was like, this is incredible. And they have since, I was like, a fun fact is that my husband and my sister-in-law have tried out for Survivor. We cut our mini moon short to go to a Survivor casting in Ohio.
Really?
Yeah.
What did they do? I guess it's just a TV personality cast, basically.
Pretty much. Right. Yeah, to be fair, they stood in line. I stood in line with them for like 4 hours, and the line didn't make it all the way through. Like, people came out of the woodwork for this casting. Like, some guy hiked all the way across Ohio literally hiked Ohio so that he could be in front of casting. He has not been on the show since, so who knows? But yeah, and they didn't make it to the front of the line. So like, we got to go see what they do. They just filmed their videos on the spot and sent them in, but fascinating.
Wow. All right. It is. How would you describe what you do to a 90-year-old?
Oh my gosh. I have to do this all the time with Kevin's grandma. And I was like, when I did graphic design, that was usually pretty easy. I was like, oh, I make pretty things for businesses. Like, that was just like the very easy. Or I do marketing for small businesses. Like, that was the easier one. As I am shifting, ebbing and flowing, I will talk about being like a guidance counselor for business owners. Like, I help them figure out what they want and where they want to go and help them get there.
And how do you normally describe what you do?
A little bit of the same. Depends on who I'm talking to, but I will talk a lot about taking a business owner's like swirly brain and helping them figure out like what belongs to them and what is a should, and then figure out based on what they actually want in their business. We put some structure and a plan around it and then help them move towards more of what they want in their business. So swirl to structure has been my recent simplified version of that.
I love that. I love that. What are your offers and how far out do you book if you book out?
Good question. This has been such a fun season in business where I'm just I have been offering to my current client base some of my existing offers. So a lot of them will still pop in for a design VIP day as I'm navigating this shift. And then as I'm taking on new offers, I have co-pilot call where it's a 90-minute call, deep dive, and then we give them the structure and plan, and then they can continue on for a month of office hours where they can take action on the plan, but they have me there to answer questions as they're going. So that's a current offer. And then I've been doing a group program called Full Tilt, and that's kind of the more structured version of that offer where we specifically tackle areas of vision, messaging, and marketing, and help you figure out what you want to be saying, what you want to be, how you want to be saying it, and how you want your business to look.
No.
Full Tilt is done with, I have a co-pilot in that one, Olivia Miller. who is like a great friend of mine. So she and I have been tackling Full Tilt together. I have a very big picture brain. She has a very detailed brain, which works very well because I will like say these grandiose things. And she's like, and how do we do that? And it really brings me down to earth in a great way. And then vice versa, when she can't see the vision through the weeds, like I can help take the 10,000 foot view of things. So we have been doing that. Yeah. Thank you.
And how did you start working together?
God. We worked at a camp together. So prior to working in our online businesses, we worked at a camp for kids with serious illnesses. She was the one who brought the campers there. She was the camper family liaison. So she would deliver the campers to our doorstep, and I was the program director. So I was the one causing chaos within camp and creating events. So we met there, and then she started her online business and was like, quit your job, come work with me. And I was like, you're insane. And then I did.
I didn't realize you've been working together the whole time.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. For 10, I was like, we've known each other for over 10 years at this point, which is crazy. And then, yeah, we've had varying offers that like weave together. And then sometimes we'll both just be like doing our own offers, but still have each other as like business owners and friends to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. What does this look like? Help.
If you're looking for a way to grow your business that doesn't include yapping to camera, emails are the way to go. And the most successful launches in the online space sent over 40 emails. 40. That's a lot of emails. But Sam at Nomad Copy, who's a big supporter of this podcast, put together a launch email checklist just for you. This checklist has 40 emails spread over 7 categories that have the biggest impact on the success of your launch. That includes pre-launch all the way through the upsells and retargeting. Every email your launch actually needs to convert in one list, and you can grab it today for just $1 using the code 2desks. The link is in the show notes. Yes, that's amazing. And since we're right here, if somebody is just tuning in, please tell everyone who you are, where you are, and maybe something they might not know about you if they've only listened to the first 2 episodes.
Hi, I'm Alexa Howell. I've given you lots of like weird words for what I do, but I would say that I'm a personal brand strategist and I'm a business mentor for women in business. I help women go from that swirly brain of like, I have so many ideas, but no structure to this, and help them give structure so they can start moving and building the business they actually want. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and I've been here for almost 6 years. I've on previous episodes talked a little bit about the 6-year itch of transitioning your business. I was formerly a graphic designer and web designer, and I'm shifting, playing, and adjusting how I serve my clients in a way that also suits my strengths. Gosh, something you didn't know about me. As a result of working at that camp, I have like a slew of weird certifications. So I have I'm an archery instructor. I'm a high ropes course instructor. I really early in dating my husband, Kevin, I made him get the boating certification with me. I really don't recommend doing that. We like flipped our boat within 2 seconds of being in it and had to very quickly learn how to bail out a boat as part of that. So yeah, a weird set of certifications that I don't currently use, but, they're just waiting for a good time.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So today's episode, I want to talk about something you've recently, quote, overheard in the online space. So Alexa sent me a Instagram post by Vix Meldrew, I'm assuming that's how you say it.
I think so.
And we'll tag her in the show notes with this post. But it is talking a little bit about Jessie Jane's big Yap launch. And if you're in the online space, you will probably remember at this point all about this launch. And Vix had an interesting kind of post about how we perceive women who successfully launch, specifically called the tall poppy syndrome, which is the social pressure to cut someone down who has grown too visible or too successful too quickly. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw this post?
So I had been having a conversation with Olivia earlier that day about how being a woman in the online space is incredibly tricky because even when you do the greatest thing that we all dream about, right? A 1.2 million launch. Like that's crazy. That's incredible. Even when you do that, like all of a sudden since that launch, we saw all of these like post-mortems of her success and, some people really praising her and some people really cutting her down and, sharing various perspectives. And as we were talking about how as a business owner, like that's really scary to see. And it makes you want to maybe not experience that level of success and visibility. And then literally like later that day, this post popped up on my feed. And I was like, this so eloquently gives the words and structure to something that we both had been feeling that, as a woman, if you grow too big, you really just like are so susceptible to criticism and other people like knocking you down immediately for that success and how it makes us feel less safe even going for that level of success. And we've seen it a couple times this year, right? Like Emma Greed's book launch, like, there was such mixed thoughts and reviews and things on it. And I think like for me as a business owner, we really have to separate almost like the success from the person in a way of like, we can celebrate that human so much because like what they did is truly incredible. But when we're talking about like even like digging or pulling things apart, like, I think it's so important to look at it as like, look at the idea of what they're doing and not the person. So trying to do a little bit of separation there. But honestly, in general, just like giving people space to be celebrated for what they do first and foremost.
Can you talk more about the separation of the person versus the thing?
Yeah, no, it's actually a thought I've been like exploring a lot with women in business in general, that especially if you are a personal brand, so many of your ideas get tied up in your identity. And so then it feels like literally any time, somebody nitpicks maybe like a piece of your offer or is like, oh, I don't really need that. It makes them feel like I don't really need you. So it feels like an internal kind of attack versus like when we separate or can like pull that thing out and look at it with a little bit more objectivity, we're able to say like, oh yeah, maybe I do need to adjust that piece of my offer, but it doesn't mean anything about me as a human being. So I think just like that separation of like idea from person.
When you think about Jesse's launch and that success, how do you look at the launch from a marketing perspective and as just a business owner?
I mean, as a human being, like I think that first, like I think what she did is like incredible. I also think she is doing like what I wish so many business owners would do is like learning to trust their voice and what they're saying and their skills and just kind of seeing what unfolds from there. Like she showed up on the internet with like not even a half-baked plan and a microphone and just started yapping and watching that unfold over time. She has some incredible strategic background, but she really just showed up day in, day out and talked and like continued to answer questions her audience had, like really showed up in response to those videos and like kept going and growing to the point that when people were like, teach me how to do what you do, it felt like the most organic next step. And so watching that, I was like, I wish more business owners would take the perspective of like trusting your strengths and talents and seeing what unfolds and then like letting the next step unfold a little bit organically. Like your audience will ask for what they want. And until then, like you do have to keep showing up and using your voice and finding your perspective and like getting really comfortable in that space first. So I think that is like a big takeaway I wish that, people talked more about. Do you have any things that you like having watched the launch or even from like looking at that social post, is there anything that stuck out to you?
So I had never heard of Jessie until people started talking about the launch. Like the launch was over, basically, by the time I'm like, who is this person? And I went back and I watched some of her videos and you can tell she's become really good at that form of content and it shows and it makes you feel like this is something I could do. And I think right there is the piece that everybody says, well, great, let me learn from you to do this exact thing. And so I'm not surprised. It was a big launch, especially when you talk about, people craving that intimacy that many times through the waves of social media, we've gone through, like the influencer that you want to, be one day. And now people are really craving that community level, that intimacy. And she's doing it with her videos. She's making you feel like you're right there, that you're talking to her. And I mean, I think it's very clear that that's what people want right now.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like that connection, community, authenticity, and also a little bit of vulnerability of just like sharing exactly where you are, what step you're on without the like filter of it. Like she did a couple videos where she would just like, she would talk through exactly what she was making each month and how it was going. And like, it was incredibly like real, vulnerable. And you felt like you were on her team. And being like, yeah, I want to see where this shakes out next. So I loved getting to feel like I was riding shotgun on her journey.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I don't think it has to be done in that way. And I think that's where you start to see mistakes in like these trends on the online space, is someone trying to replicate her. And that's not the way you go about it always.
Yes. No, I think that's huge. And I think like I've seen some like, in those like launch postmortems, people talking about like, oh, well, now we're going to see 1 million people yap on the internet. And I was like, yeah. And like, that's a great thing. And that's going to give people an opportunity to decide if that is their avenue. But like, I also think we need more testing and playing and like seeing what does feel good. So yeah, like let them yap, let them play. Like,
what's it hurt?
Yeah. Who's making the rules?
Scroll if you don't want to hear it. I don't know.
Correct. Yeah. I was like, that's the whole point. And I don't think that yapping is everybody's medium of choice. Like, and I think that's like, we have to figure it out one way or another. Like, I know I'm a long story long girl. Like my email newsletters have been like my source of joy right now in content creating. And I think everybody has to kind of like find their mediums and what feel good. And like you launched a podcast and like all of those things are just like, you just get to play. You just get to figure it out. It's not so serious.
It's not. We make it though. We make it. There's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves to like do it right the first time. And that's, I mean, we know in my brain, I know that that's not the right way, but
convincing myself otherwise.
Right? It's like you must actually try different things to know what feels good. And the thing that feels easiest for you to make, even if we think just content creation wise, might not feel the easiest that very first time.
Yes. Yeah. It takes time, which is like literally the worst, but also the best. I don't know.
The other thing that stood out to me from Vix's post was her message about pre-shrinking yourself. Ooh, that's a little gut punch for me. And it reminded me of the discussion where women were, I don't remember who was the initiator of it, but the post was basically like, women can't take a compliment without adding on, right? Like, oh, I love your dress. Thanks, I got it on sale, or thanks, whatever. There's that extra piece instead of just taking the compliment.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, like we can't fully just like receive that appreciation, that love. I was like, we can dig in on this later, but like how much we celebrate ourselves, I feel like might also be in relationship to that ability to be celebrated. But yeah, that we shrink back when we're faced with the potential of like these good things too.
Right. Yeah. And her examples here of, I made 8K last month and you called it not bad, or you hit your biggest launch ever and led with, it was a lot of work. You have to add these little asterisks almost to your success. And I don't feel like I've seen Jessie doing that, which is, I'm curious, one of the reasons she's being nitpicked so much. She's just owning it. She did the thing. She got the success. It's a massive launch. Why shouldn't she own it? We all know it took a lot of work. We all know it wasn't easy, but she didn't need to, constantly remind us of that. She could just own that she did it and she could be celebrated.
No, and I have literal goosebumps right now, like thinking about the video of her telling her mom like how much she made in her launch and like watching just like that unfold. And like I do want to see that, like I want to see people just like celebrate without the caveat of, or even like this isn't entirely what I planned for, or like when a launch doesn't fully hit its mark, but you still made 8K, or like like all of those things, like that's so good. And it's so hard to sit in that feeling without giving the caveat either to yourself or to somebody else of, it was a lot of work, or it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be, or I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But like, we can't control those, we can't control everything. And so it's hard to accept exactly how things went without also nitpicking ourselves in the process.
And do you have any tips, and no pressure to have one, but do you have any tips on how to celebrate successes as business owners without adding the caveat?
Well, yeah, without and it was hard. Great question. I guess I have a couple. Like I have some tangible ones, and then I have just, some fun ones. But one thing I will do for myself is like I have to separate like what is the controllable from the like result. Like I can't control the result all the time, but I can control the controllable. And so one thing that is very, very tangible that does help me is that if I want to be doing something, I will track it. So I've recently brought back my habit tracker, and I know we can dig in on time tracking because I think that's another really good way to be like, I'm doing the thing. But that helps give me a visible look at what I am doing so that when my nitpicky brain comes in and tries to discredit that success, I'm also building a bank of proof around like, no, like I am walking this many times a week. I am doing this. Like, I was like, I'm currently tracking some like audacious actions. And so like, I am stepping out of my way and trying new things. And so giving my brain proof so that when that little voice that tries to cut down or create the caveat comes in, I have that bank of proof to be like, no, I'm proud of myself for doing these things, and here's the data for it. So, my data girls, I was like, that's a good one for the, collect that data. The other one that's also kind of tangible is like, I will write down wins at the end of the day. And job here, which is the trickiest part, is like, you have to write down wins no matter what. So there are days where I will finish my day and I'm like, it wasn't good enough. And I was like, nope. That doesn't count. I was like, a win can be as simple as like, I enjoyed my hot cup of coffee this morning. It can be as simple as like, I tried or started this project and I'm excited about it. It can also like, it can be life, it can be business, but like, I have to find the wins, and that tricks our brain into making it a little bit easier to find those wins as we keep going with that, I think. And then lastly, surrounding yourself with humans who will like also help you celebrate is like just an easy one to like, when you go to celebrate something, like have them listen for the caveat and have them like, my friends will be like, no, like we're celebrating just that. And I think that's just like such a really wonderful thing to have around you.
That's really nice. Yeah. The wins at the end of the day is a really good one.
I know. That one it's so good. I was like, basically, the like high level is like, find yourself a bank of proof, like whatever that looks like. The daily wins they really are helpful. They really can be challenging to do, especially if you are in a season where those wins don't look like as normal as you want them to, or if you're in a season of change. Like, I was like, my wins don't look exactly like they used to. And it's really hard not to take that and be like, but my wins this many months ago, this many years ago looked like this. I just have to be like, nope, we're celebrating exactly where we are. And then like, I know more celebrations will continue to come.
Yep. Yeah, anytime I do goal planning with clients towards the end of the year and we're looking back over the previous year and then looking forward, it's really interesting because I'll come to the meeting having done the research for them. I have a list of the wins for the year and I want to hear first what they come up with. And it's fascinating to me that they will forget so many, and yes. I'll start dropping them in. They're like, oh yeah, we did do that. That was really big. But you're almost programmed to be forward-facing and less like celebrating what you've done, that it's easy to forget those things. Even if in the moment we did celebrate them, it's like, oh, out of sight, out of mind.
Truly. No, I talk about this with clients too, where I'm like, we always have to look back before we look forward, because they will very quickly, I will very quickly forget like all of the things we actually did. And like, those were things that I dreamed about doing for a long time, or they dreamed about doing for a long time. And so, yeah, we will very quickly as business owners just like move on to the next big hurdle, because we do have to keep moving in some ways. But I also think like, we will never be fully satisfied unless we can learn to like pause and celebrate and like live in some of that celebration too.
I mean, I have a really hard time doing it, so I'm not.
Same.
I like to think it gets
easier. Yeah.
So much easier to do it for clients than for myself.
Nope. That's really real though. Like I joke that like my clients are my best mirror sometimes in moving through that. And so like I will get off a call and be like, wow, she really didn't celebrate her wins today. And then I'm like, ooh, where am I not celebrating my wins today? And so like letting it be a gentle mirror, not like we're not shaming, but like, I'll be like, okay, like maybe this is a chance for me to go first too, and like do that thing too.
Yep. I know. I need to buy, that's such a good idea. I need to buy a notebook that I can keep on my desk here for a wins record, because I have a client compliments folder where I screenshot nice things clients say to me and put them in a folder. So when I'm feeling really down, I pull it up.
Yes. Yep.
But I need a notebook for daily wins to just sit here on my desk to make sure I actually do it.
Yep. I love that. A little winning record.
Yeah. So before we wrap, do you have any other thoughts about what Vic said or Jesse's launch in general?
I think if I'm just like looking at this as a whole, like I think my biggest takeaways are really like finding what that version of success looks like for you. And that does come from trial and error, and just like having fun while doing it, and like listening to what people respond to. I think that's huge. And then I think from Vix's like really talking about that tall poppy syndrome is like being mindful of where you're adding caveats to your success, or where you're adding caveats to other people's success, because how you celebrate others is a little bit of a mirror of how you celebrate yourself too. And so I think just admiring, I literally had admired a poppy last week. I was like, it was very timely. So just like, when you see success, naming it and using it as a tool. I always say like one finger pointed at others is 3 pointed back at you. And so, when you celebrate somebody's success, like it shows you what's possible and also shows you what you want. So like let it be a celebration. It's a really important thing.
I think that's a beautiful place to end today.
Perfect.